They say that twins are two halves of the same soul. And in the village of Umudike, people believed that if you hurt one, the other would bleed. Obinna and Ikenna were those twins. They farmed together, laughed together, and promised that not even gold or land would ever come between them. But they forgot one thing, that the heart is not a piece of land you can divide with a fence. Welcome to African Tales by Kim. Today, I'm taking you to a time when a single smile from a stranger turned blood brothers into sworn enemies. This is a story of love, a broken oath, and betrayal. Obinna was the elder by only 3 minutes, but he carried the weight of a firstborn. He was so calm, but Ikenna, the younger, was the fire. He was the one who danced the loudest at the New Yam Festival and spoke his mind without filtering his words. Their father, Pa Ezike, was a proud man. On his deathbed, he held their hands together and said, "The world will try to split you, but as long as your hands stay joined, the family name will never fall." For years, they honored that. They built a massive compound together. They were the most eligible bachelors in the village. Every mother in Umudike dreamed of sending her daughter to the house of the twins. But the brothers were very picky. They were waiting for something and someone very special. Then came the day of the Afo market.
Come and buy my fresh tomatoes and vegetables.
The heat that afternoon was heavy. Obinna was helping Ikenna tie up a stubborn goat when a woman walked past them. She wasn't just beautiful. She carried a grace that made the noisy market go silent for a second. Her name was Adugo. She was a visitor from the neighboring village. She came to sell palm oil in Umudike. As she struggled with a heavy jerrycan, Obinna stepped forward to help, but Ikenna was faster. "Let a man with strength handle that for you, fair one," Ikenna joked, flashing his famous smile. Adugo laughed, but her eyes met Obinna's. In that moment, a seed was planted, but it wasn't a seed of grain. It was a seed of competition between the two brothers. For the next month, the compound was quiet, but the hearts inside were very loud. Obinna began taking the long path through the woods, claiming he was scouting for new land. But in reality, he was meeting Adugo by the stream. Adugo loved his calmness and she felt safe with him. However, Ikenna was also busy. He would go to the market every day, bringing Adugo gifts of roasted fish and colorful beads. He made her laugh. He was bold. He told her openly, "I will make you the queen of the finest compound in Umudike." The brothers didn't tell each other about their feelings for Adugo. For the first time in their lives, they were keeping secrets. The air in their house became thick. They stopped eating from the same bowl due to tension that could not be explained. One evening, Obinna sat in the Obi, which is the men's parlor in Igbo land, sharpening his machete. Ikenna walked in, smelling of expensive local gin and looking triumphant. "Brother," Ikenna said, his voice full of excitement, "I have found her. The woman who will bear our children. I am going to ask for Adugo's hand in marriage next week." Then the machete slipped from Obinna's hand, clattering against the hard mud floor. There was a deep silence that followed afterwards. "No, you cannot marry her," Obinna said softly. Ikenna laughed, but his eyes were sharp. "Why not? Because you want her to? I've seen the way you look at her, Obinna, but she needs a man who can make her dance, not a man who sits like a statue." Obinna stood up and said, "I have been meeting her at the stream for weeks, Ikenna. We have shared words you wouldn't understand. She is mine." The argument that night shook the walls of the compound. It wasn't just about a woman. It was also about years of built-up tension. Ikenna began to accuse Obinna of using his position as the elder to claim everything. Obinna accused Ikenna of being reckless and disrespectful. Then the next day, the news spread through the village like a wildfire. People whispered at the square, "Have you heard? The twins are fighting over the girl from the neighboring village." Their mother, Mama Nneka, pleaded with them. She cried until her voice went hoarse. "Think of your father. Think of the oath." But the brothers were blinded. Love had turned into a matter of pride. Seeing that the twins were now divided and their fight was getting worse, the high priest of the land, Ezemo, summoned the twins to the sacred grove. The atmosphere was eerie. The smell of incense filled the air. The high priest looked at them with eyes that seemed to see into their souls. "You two are tearing this village apart," the priest declared. "Since you cannot agree, and the girl says she loves both of you in different ways, the gods will decide. In 3 days, there will be a trial of the heart." He told them they had to go into the forest of whispers to find the stone of truth. Whoever brought it back first would have the right to wed Adugo. The night before the journey into the forest, Obinna was packing his bag when he heard a movement behind him. It was Ikenna. But Ikenna didn't look like a brother anymore. He looked like a hunter. "Obinna," Ikenna whispered, his voice cold. "Do not go into that forest tomorrow. If you go, only one of us will come back. And I promise you, it won't be the one who moves slowly." Obinna looked at his twin brother and saw a stranger. He realized then that Ikenna was ready to do the unthinkable. The next morning, as the sun began to rise over Umudike, the two brothers stood at the edge of the forbidden forest. The villagers were scared, and their mother wailed bitterly, knowing that her sons were stepping into danger, but she couldn't stop them anymore. As they stepped into the dark trees, a loud, unnatural thunder rolled across the sky, even though there wasn't a cloud in sight. What happened inside that forest? Who did Adugo truly love? And what dark secret was Ikenna hiding under his cloth? Let's find out in part 2.